The ability to properly delegate tasks is probably one of the greatest skills of any leader. The issue is knowing what the people that we are instructing are capable of. Oftentimes, a leader will find a situation where they can do things more efficiently than those that they have in mind. But the reality is, we only have so much time. And delegating tasks gives us the ability to expand and actually create the ambiance, the desired effect that we want out of a thing that we're trying to organize, or potentially an event that we're trying to put together, or a system that we want to establish to put into place. The issue is finding the right people. And I constantly advocate for doing this passively. The reality is, look at this little cat thing in the back. The reality is, if we don't know what we are capable of, if we don't know our strengths and weaknesses, it's very difficult to find the people that are going to make up for the things that we're lacking. But oftentimes when we get to a situation where we want to plan something or actually have a system in place that we want to implement, we actually don't have those people. So I advocate for passively engaging with those people and passively having relationships with those people, so that if a time comes in your life that you actually need their help, that you already have the relationship, the ethos behind you to actually utilize those people's skills and the things that they're going to make up for, the things that potentially you were missing as leaders. There's going to be times in your life where if you plan things where this probably already happened to you a lot if you're watching this type of video, where you expect a certain amount from someone and they don't quite deliver to the degree that you would in that situation. So how do we go about dealing with that and also using it as a constructive kind of experience for everyone involved? Well, firstly, we know now what that person's capacity is. Good. Now we know how much we can delegate to that person. Good. First, we need to fail usually in order to come to those conclusions. But knowing that, the hardest thing to do is not get frustrated at the capacity of that individual and actually utilize to the maximum ability their potential and their vision of the thing that you're trying to put together. So the first step in starting any sort of major initiative is going to be putting in place very specifically and concisely a method in which everyone can kind of get on board. And so that's kind of the back end work. The back end work is thinking to yourself, what do you want out of a situation? And also, well, how do you want it to feel? So the back end work is arguably the most fun and also the most difficult, because if we don't know concretely what we're trying to get out of a situation or initiative that we put in place, oftentimes the point's going to be missed by also the participants. Now, what's the point of doing all this work if we haven't given the thing that we're trying to achieve, if we haven't made people feel the way that we want them to feel about our ideas, about the things that we're trying to implement into society? Okay, fine. So you spend the time to go and establish that core aspect of the experience, the event that you're trying to go through. Now rack your brain and try to figure out, who do you have in your corner? I learned recently from Grant Cardone, actually a while back, that the teams that we assume actually comprise of our initiatives, the things that we want to do for our career, for our the betterment of our communities potentially, that team is constructed your entire life. So apparently a good way to think about it, which I've also enjoyed thinking about, is everyone that you ever meet, anyone that you have a relationship with in your life, is actually a part of that team. Again, when you get into situations where you are trying to plan things all the time and you're trying to have initiatives, you'll have people, select people that you rely on for certain things, for sure. But to constantly have ideas of what other people are capable of can be an exhausting thing, sure, but is very, very practical, passive way to go about building up the group, the community that you need to actually make the things that you want happen. Now, involving family, involving friends into things that you're trying to do for your personal growth, for your career growth, can be difficult and daunting for many of us. Naturally, we have different relationships with these people. The way that we want to be perceived potentially is different. And the thing that I'm trying to satisfy in my life, something that my practice management teacher in dental school taught us, was that if the way that you interact with people, if the way that you carry yourself is entirely different from your career and your house, that can create a dichotomy, a wedge in between a more put together life, a more succinct, harmonious life. And so for many of us, it's very difficult finding what type of personality works in all situations. And so I'm constantly on a pursuit to find that myself, because I don't want to put on an act. I want to be as genuine as humanly possible here in my career and at my house. It's something that I don't want people to feel that they're talking to a different Tarab based on different circumstances. And that's difficult to do, because we now have to find something, a way of being that is universally applicable. And so far, my theory on it is, if you try to be kind, and also just all of the initiatives that you want to put into place in your career, they should have a sense of your morality in it, because that morality will carry through in our initiatives and also in our households, the way that we associate with anyone on the street. And passively, the power of this is actually building up that team anywhere that you go. If you go to a restaurant and you're looking for someone to work in your office or in your business, you have more opportunities essentially to stumble across people that will be useful to you, and also find the things that you're working on together satisfying to their souls, things that they actually want to do. So involving family, involving friends can be difficult, but that's the first step, in my opinion, is getting yourself to a point where you're even-keeled in all situations in life. Try to think about it. How do you want to be perceived when you are in a leadership role? Do you want to be feared? Do you want to be involved in the team? Do you want people to come to you with issues and solutions that they have found in their lives that can work for you? Yes, being in a team. So tackling some of the frustrations that come with seeing that certain people have skills and obviously some deficits, we need to be even-keeled. We need to constantly just have faith that people showing up is the very least that they can do, but also more than what most people are capable of doing. So if you have someone that's showing up all the time, if you have someone that is relevant and always on speed dial, that person, even though they might lack some of the skills that you would want in an ideal participant in your events, the fact that they're showing up in itself is something to take as a beautiful thing. A necessary component of every person in your team, hopefully, is accountability. And that to me is always going to be the stake in the ground for me to say, okay, this person's on my team or this person's not. Loyalty, accountability, these are things that are character driven, right? So we were talking about morals earlier. If you can find people that have strong morals that align with the things that you're trying to do, working with them is way, way easier. And also kind of injecting that into your judgment of these people is going to help mitigate some of the depression, I suppose, that comes with trying to organize and trying to be a leader. It's having faith in people. It's really just utilizing the best aspects of them and giving them as much salt as they need to flavor potentially the negative aspects. So there's a lot more that goes into this. I'm going to make another video on accountability and essentially constructing these teams and delegating these tasks. It's something to consider. It's something that, as a leader, I have struggled with significantly in my life, because I've always felt that it's so much easier to just do the job on your own. You don't have to ask anyone to do these specifics, and you don't feel like you're pushing people past their point. But at the end of the day, I think we need to step back, take our egos back a little bit, and realize that skills are something that is very, very important to accumulate in the beginning of our careers. But when we get into a leadership aspect of life, skills are actually something that you can delegate. Ideas are the things that make us powerful, our vision of things. So let's keep on trying to train that type of stuff, right? And give people the benefit of the doubt and keep building our little teams. And hopefully you found this video interesting. Hopefully it's helped a little bit to assuage your leadership, I guess, burnout, potentially. But if you enjoy the video, dropping a like helps me out a lot. This fan would love if you dropped a like. This fan is also a video that I made about leadership a long time ago that you might be interested in, so check it out. And remember, my friend, actualize your potential. This world needs you. Take care.